Welcome to the Jynxbox M1V2 Pure Linux unboxing and review. I'm doing this at the very end of 2014. Now let's have a little look at the specs, and you'll find they're actually quite low specs in today's terms. So it's running a AM Logic M3 at 1 GHz CPU rate, and it's got a Mali 400 GPU. The system memory is 1 gig, so that really is very similar to the Raspberry Pi. The Pi only has 512 meg of RAM and a 700 megahertz CPU. So this has got slightly better specs than a Pi. You've got the storage. It's only 2 gig, unfortunately, the onboard storage, but you do have space for a micro SD card up to 32 gig, and you've got the usual audio and video output HDMI up to 1080p, all the usual XBMC codecs in there, but it does have built-in Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz, which the Raspberry Pi doesn't. And you've also got the LAN port as well, so you've got the option for a wired connection or wireless, and it also has 3 USB 2.0 ports as well, and the dimensions are quite small, 108 by 105 by roughly 20. So yeah, that's a nice small little box. So let's have a look at it in action and see how it fares. Right, so what we've got here is the Jynxbox M1V2 network media streamer, and you see we've got a power supply there. This is a US one that I've got in this particular box, as it come actually from the US, I believe. And then we've got the little box itself, nice little size, lightweight. It says it does 1080p, looks pretty well made. And yep, it's got a reset button on the bottom there. It's got micro SD, a couple of USBs on the side. It's got a LAN port on the back, another USB, HDMI, and the power in, and also a power button. And then you've got your LEDs on the front, and there we go. Yes, on the right you can see the power button there. And then the other things in the box, we have a HDMI cable. Looks okay, looks decent-ish quality, and it matches the colour of the box. Very basic remote by the looks of it. Feels alright though, feels pretty good. Nice and easy to press the buttons with your thumb there. There's no stop button, but it's got all the basic functions you should need. And then you've also got the quick start sort of guide that tells you how to use it, which actually looks very easy, and it's got screenshots and everything. So so that's very good. And then you've obviously got your little your warranty in there. Right, so I'm booting it up for the very first time, and my TV is telling me that this is running at 720p at the moment, which is pretty standard. Most boxes, when they boot up, they boot into 720p just for compatibility reasons, really. If you've got a 1080p TV, great. If not, if you've only got a 720p capable TV, then if the resolution is set to 1080 by default, you may encounter problems. So most manufacturers set it at 720p just for that particular reason. As you can see, it's just sat on this screen for quite some time. There's no kind of notifications of what's going on, but there we go. Suddenly we're into the XBMC splash screen, some sort of new splash screen I've not seen before. And the first thing we can see is we've got some add-ons pre-installed, and I can already see that some of those no longer exist. And again, yeah, it looks like the box comes sort of fully loaded, if you like, with a load of content that not everyone will want. Let's have a look in there, and we've got we've got a few useful things in there. So I'm just going to go to the Wi-Fi manager, and I'm going to connect to my Wi-Fi network. Right, I've successfully connected. However, I can't seem to see an option to OK out of this menu. It's not very clear what to do here. Usually there would be an OK button, but I've only got the option of cancel or disconnect. So I'm just going to press the back button and hope that that holds. So fingers crossed. Still got the RSS feed at the bottom, so it's looking good, as though those settings have taken place and stuck. So you can see that the menus aren't very smooth. They're not that quick to load up. And you can see you've got all these different things on here that are pre-installed, which I'm personally not a fan of. You know, Mashup is on there. That is no longer. You've got ntv.mx, which is a premium subscription as well on there, I noticed. Let's go into video settings, change that to expert, and see what acceleration we got. Yeah, we've got hardware acceleration, AM codec. So it looks so it is running hardware acceleration on the graphics, which is good. So it should be able to play the 1080s no problem. And I just run through these menus, see how speedy they load up. That seems fine. And there we go. Yeah. And I just actually I think I'll change the hidden folders and directories in case I need that later in the guide. Yeah, so I mean it's okay. It's certainly not the quickest unit in the world. As you can see there, I'm running 720p. Yeah, got plenty of free memory at the minute, and you know, that's all fine. So what I'm going to do is change the resolution to 1080p and see if that makes any difference. Okay, we're now in 1080p. So let's have a little look and see if that's made any difference on the speed, if it slowed it down at all. And it looks fine at the moment, absolutely fine. You know, we can go into Mashup, and I know for a fact that that has now been deleted. I'm not a fan of companies pre-installing lots of add-ons, because you know, add-ons do come and go. This is one that has since gone, so this should in theory delete itself, but we can at least have a look, see how quick the artwork loads up. Not massively speedy. I would put it on par with a Raspberry Pi probably, speed wise. There's probably not a lot in it. Here we go. It's not, you know, it's unfortunately not very quick at loading things up. I mean, it's just come up with the update message here, and it's still by the looks of it, it might still be sort of updating add-ons in the background. That is one of the problems with pre-installing a load of add-ons, is that they are obviously going to need updating when you switch the box on for the first time. So hopefully there's not too much more to update. We'll have a look at that in a minute and just see how it's getting on. So as you can see, you know, it's not very quick at loading up menus, but we'll put that down to the fact that it's still updating stuff on startup, because you know, on low spec devices like this, it can take a little while to load up. I mean, it's not terrible. I've seen slower systems, not many granted, but I have seen slower systems. Right, it's be interesting to see how long it takes to load this list up. Obviously, this is the very first time I've booted this up. I've not played with this unit at all yet. So there's no metadata cached at all. But it does appear to be taking a little while. Oh, there we go. We're in. So let's see how quick the artwork loads up. Not particularly quick, but again, probably on par with the Raspberry Pi-ish, I would say. So at the minute, you know, I'm going to say if you're after the device, you're not that fussed about the speed. I mean, it does the job, just not quickly. So, you know, if you're thinking about getting a Raspberry Pi, you might want to consider this, because it probably works out a similar price point, but you don't have to put all the bits together yourself, and it's got Wi-Fi included as well. So you can see, I mean, there is actually quite a few there that, you know, no longer work, but this has been in my hands, this unit, and never plugged in for a good couple of months. So, you know, this is partly my fault for not plugging it in sooner. The fact that some of these add-ons are no longer, but it's just one of those annoying things where, you know, companies do tend to try and make the box fully loaded, should we say. Unfortunately, that seems to be a good selling point. So I'm just going to try and add Total Installer now, and the remote, it doesn't have any kind of keypad, keyboard, should I say. So we have to use this on-screen keyboard, which obviously takes a little bit of time, even though I'm very accustomed to it, and you know, I've been using XBMC since the old Xbox days when I used to have to use this on-screen keyboard, so very familiar with it, but it does take time still. The keys feel quite good. They're rubbery keys. One thing that I have noticed on here is the lack of a stop button, so you'd have to bring up the on-screen display and press stop if you want stop. But the other the other buttons on here are actually quite good. You've got back, you've got home, you've got your context menu, up, down, left, right, mute, info. You've got your volume buttons, your page up, page down, and you've got power button as well. So it's, you know, it's lightweight, it's little, feels good in the hand, but it is very basic. It is what it is. Okay, so that's that source added. Let's try installing Total Installer. Okay, that says the repo's installed. And it's worth noting as well that this is running Gotham 13.0. I did look for an update, but I haven't seen one anywhere. I haven't seen any newer updates available, although there is an update section on the Theatre in a Box website, I've noticed. So, so yeah, there is downloads available, but I believe this is still the most up to date. Okay, so again, not the quickest. But then we are on Wi-Fi, and you know, it is possibly still doing a few bits in the background, although it shouldn't be by now. It should have completely finished any updates it had to do. Right, so I'm just going to try installing Genesis, because that will give us a good idea of how fast or slow everything runs. So we click on that. Install. Yep. I mean, that speed doesn't seem too bad, really, you know, considering Wi-Fi. Oh, here we go. Reddit videos has been marked as incompatible. So, it started updating the add-ons finally. What have we? We're about 13 minutes. Yeah, we must be about 10, well over 10 minutes in into XBMC, and it's only just started updating the add-ons in the background, which is, to be honest, that's pretty poor. Okay, so this may interfere with the install process of Genesis. We shall see. We'll see what happens. It might throw some glitches. Okay. Not quite sure entirely what it's doing at this point with the loading thing, and it's coming up with details about the add-on again. It shouldn't be doing that, so I'm guessing that's somehow managed to throw a glitch with the installer while it's trying to update things in the background. So I think the best thing to do is come out of there. Oh, it's still throwing these glitches. No, I think we've managed to install it already, so I'm just going to no past all of that. And what I'm going to do is go to our system menu again and have a look and see what add-ons are actually downloading, I think. So let's check in here. Let's see if Genesis has installed. It looks like it. So all these ones here are ones that are pre-installed. So I didn't install any of these apart from Genesis. So you can see it is full of a lot of content, which, like I say, not everybody is after, because generally speaking, more is less when it comes to XBMC. Sorry, wrong way around. Less is more, should I say? Less is more with XBMC. The more you get, the more things try and update, and the more problems you're potentially going to cause yourself. So let's see what's going on here and see if we can see why it's going so slow. Oh, there's still available updates, so as you can see there's quite a few here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let that do all these updates, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to reboot when it's done. Okay, see you in a minute. Right, just rebooting now. That actually took quite a while to update all those add-ons. I would say from the initial boot to completing the update of those add-ons took about 20 minutes, which I think is pretty unacceptable. But you know, there you go. Right, and we're in. Hopefully now everything's updated, we're going to find it runs a much smoother. What I also done actually was I did load up Genesis just to see what it's going to be like when we go back into it, because it should have cached all the artwork and metadata. So let's have a look. Go in our add-ons, and we go all the way down to Genesis. And we've got the working symbol, and of course because I rebooted, it is obviously going to go through loading up certain services in the background as well. So this may not be a true reflection on how fast Genesis would be, you know, if you'd waited maybe 20 minutes for the system to update everything. Presumably, you know, if you leave this unit on, it should run a little bit quicker than it is now. You would imagine it would certainly load Genesis, the add-on, almost immediately. So I'm going to put this down to services running in the background at the minute. But even on, you know, most devices these days, even if they are loading services up in the background, this is instant anyway. So you can tell it's dated, a very dated chipset they're using here. Very, very slow indeed. In actual fact, I don't recall a Raspberry Pi ever being this slow. yeah, very, very, very slow. It's also worth noting as well, actually, though, on the plus side, that I did try playing a 1080p video clip just before I rebooted from Genesis, and you know, I had it on for only a couple of minutes, but it played with no problems. Here we go, we're in. Yeah, so the 1080p played with no issues. So let's go to movies, and I actually went to people watching previously. So this is all, it should all be cached, and it should load up virtually instantly. Yeah, so it's not bad. You know, you got 333 items, is that? I can see that. A little bit slow at loading up the artwork. Let's try changing view type. It's a bit sluggish, and as you can see, it's a little bit slow at loading up the artwork as well. But what will be interesting to see is how quickly it loads up the sources. Now, this isn't necessarily dependent on the hardware. It could be, you know, a little bit dependent on the server speed, where it's getting all the information from as well. But I don't know, that seemed pretty slow to me. Probably on par with, again, like I say, the Raspberry Pi. But there you go. And I'm just going to try it in the stream, see how long that takes, and it's loading it now. So I'm going to stop it there, or else this video will get pulled. So as you can see there, that was a 1080 video, and I did just watch 20 seconds and it was flawless. So yeah, I mean, the playback is fine. Overall, I'm going to say the unit is a disappointment so far. If there's any new firmware that comes out with it, it may improve, but I would say it's probably highly unlikely that they're going to make any more firmware for this particular unit. I could be wrong, but I would say what we've got now is probably what we're going to be stuck with, because I really can't see a future for this particular box, unfortunately. But if you've got one, you know, good luck to you. It will definitely do the job, and you know, it's okay. It's absolutely fine. You know, as a bedroom box or something like that, I think there's no problems with it whatsoever. If you can pick one up cheap enough. Okay, thanks for watching, and I hope that helped. So I've just had to redo the video, just add some extra content at the end, just to let you know that actually after a good day or so of playing with it, I have encountered quite a few random reboots. So it doesn't seem to be the most stable of devices to use, and I would say performance wise it's probably a little slower in most respects than the Raspberry Pi, which is pretty much the bottom of the XBMC food chain as far as technology goes, but the Raspberry Pi is much more stable. So you know, like I say, if you've got a cheap one on a deal, then it'd probably do you in a spare room or something, but I wouldn't go out my way and purchase one of these units, I'm afraid to say.